Animate Project 2 Talking Kiosk Interface. This is Stage 2, Working with Sound. Please read the section at the top of page 101 about compressed and uncompressed file formats for audio. There are 3 methods for incorporating sound into an Animate movie. Sounds in a file's library can be placed directly on the timeline, or you can use code to call a library sound based on a particular event. You can also use code to load and play external sound files that don't exist in the Animate library. In this project, you're going to use the timeline method to add the various sounds that are needed for the kiosk to function correctly. The first step is to import the necessary sound files into the Animate library. Choose File, Import, Import to Library. Choose all of the files in the audio folder and select Open. Review the files in the library panel, then click the New Folder button and create a new folder called Audio. Drag the 5 files into the audio folder so that they're organized. Event sounds play independently of the movie timeline. They're downloaded completely, they're stored in the user computer's memory, they can be played repeatedly on a continuous loop without having to re-download the file. We're going to add the Atrium Jazz file as background music. And since I missed dragging Atrium Jazz down into the audio folder, I'll do that right away, and we're going to listen to it really quick. Select it and see this little tiny button up in the corner. That's your play button. Okay, yeah, tacky mall music. We all know what that sounds like. So that's what we're going to put in the background on here. And we are going to select frame 1 in the background layer, and in the sound section of the properties panel, yes, we have a sound section in the properties panel. Let me drag this up so it will be seen. We are going to select Atrium Jazz. Now, in the sync section, it is not going to be stream, it is going to be event. And at this point, all we're going to do is go to Control and Test. Okay, because we created this file as Air for desktop, this command will open that file up in a separate Air Debug Launcher window. This shows you what the exported file is going to look like and what it's going to sound like. And even though the sound wave only shows on frame 1 of the background layer, the entire sound will play from start to finish when you test the file. The next thing we want to do is change our sync setting event from repeat to loop so that it goes continually. And now we're going to press Control Enter is going to test the movie again. And you can close that out afterwards. If you play it through, and I don't really want to, but you're going to see that it will just keep going and going and going and going. Trust me, it'll work. Animate isn't intended to be sound editing, but we can put a certain number of effects to control the volume as well as the length of sound. These options are available in the Effect menu of the Properties panel. So we want to select frame 1 of the background layer, and in the Properties panel, open Effect and choose Custom. That's going to give us the Edit Envelope dialog box. Click the Frames button to show the sound based on frames if this is not already active. And mine came up seconds. I want to select frames. In the left channel area, which is the top waveform, click the handle and drag it down to below the bulk of the waveform. You don't need to go all the way down to the bottom. And do the same thing for the right channel. You really can tell the difference on that if you wear headphones or something, or have a good set of speakers on there. You can tell what's coming from which side. And now we have just reduced the volume of the sound file. So say OK to that, which will apply the change. If you do Control Enter again, you can see the sound is much lower. Good place to save your file. We're going to use the start and stop sync methods for buttons. The 4 category buttons are going to link to different screens on the kiosk, and each button needs to trigger a sound that plays when the user's mouse rolls over that button. To achieve this result, we can attach the relevant sound to each button using the same technique you applied in the previous section. We're going to choose Control, Enable Simple Buttons. That's going to make sure that the option is toggled on. In the Library panel, so let's expand that. Not on the screen because that's not going to work. That's going to bounce. Double-click the Shoes button to edit it. Now we're going to select the Over frame, and in the Properties panel, choose Shoes for the sound. So there's the MP3 for Shoes. Click Scene 1 so you can go back.
Shoes and apparel.
How about that? Go back in and select the Over frame and change the Sound Sync menu to Start. Select the Down frame, put in a new keyframe. You can either right-click or you can do an F6. And in the Properties panel, choose the Shoes again and choose for the Sync Stop. Go back to Scene 1. That way,
Shoes and apparel.
Shoes and apparel will stop when they've selected it. Now do the same thing to add the other 3 navigation buttons.
Casual and fine dining. Casual. Shoes and furnishings. Home furnishing. Casual and fine dining. Shoes and apparel. Home furnishings. Music and electronics. Casual and fine dining.
Save your file and you're ready to proceed to the next stage.